Hey, Mark Harrington here, coming to you from Northeast Ohio. And we are at a press conference talking about a baby that was retrieved from an abortion center here. And so I'm going to go inside and we're going to cover this press conference live. So here we go. By medical or hazardous waste, and by law should have been put into the proper container. Just so you know, this child is now in the custody of a local funeral director, and we will be planning a funeral at a date to be announced in the future. Had this child been the only thing found in the trash, it would have been horrible by itself. But that's not the case. In addition to finding this child's body, many other items were found. In the biohazard medical waste category, there are many bloody surgical sheets, used in bloody suction cannulas, filled urine specimen cups, and more. And I'm going to show you some of those here. The Ohio Environmental Protection Agency regulates the treatment and generation of infectious and hazardous wastes. Infectious waste means any wastes or combination of wastes that included cultures and stocks of infectious agents and associated biological, human blood, and blood product. Any business, including this abortion clinic, is subject to Ohio's infectious waste regulations. Those regulations include the stipulation that infectious waste must be stored in a non-putrescent state using refrigeration or freezing when necessary. They must be protected from becoming a food source or breeding ground to animals or insects. Outside storage areas must be locked to prevent unauthorized access. Infectious and hazardous waste containers must be clearly labeled with warning signs. None of this existed at the Northeast Ohio Women's Center abortion facility. Everything was thrown into an unsecured trash can serviced by Republic Waste Company right outside the rear entrance and easily accessible by anyone or anything. This clinic is located directly next to a crosswalk for a local elementary school as well. And when the clinic is closed, the clinic driveway where the trash cans are located next to is often a shortcut to the apartment complex behind the clinic and the street on which the apartments are located. While abortion disregards the life of a child, the Northeast Ohio Women's Center Abortion Clinic also disregards the health and safety of all individuals and the environment that may be affected by the improper disposal of these hazardous wastes. In addition to the hazardous infectious waste discovered, there were dozens of items that contained patient names, such as prescriptions and prescription vials. Some of these items contained the patient's contact information. Urine cups, filled urine cups, also contained women's names. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, known as HIPAA, is a federal law designed to prevent disclosure of sensitive patient health information. It requires that entities apply appropriate administrative, technical, and physical safeguards to protect the privacy of protected health information in any form. Entities are not permitted to simply abandon anything with protected health information or dispose of it in dumpsters or other containers that are accessible by the public or other unauthorized persons unless the information has been rendered essentially unreadable, indecipherable, and cannot otherwise be reconstructed prior to disposal in the trash. None of that occurred at the Northeast Ohio Women's Center abortion facility. As I mentioned earlier, the Northeast Ohio Women's Center abortion clinic disregards the life of the children it inhumanely disposes of, disregards the health and safety of people in the environment, and also disregards the privacy and safety of the clients who abort their children. None of this surprises me. This facility, along with David Berkins, the abortionist who runs it, has a long history of health and safety violations, yet still remains open. In 2013, while David Berkins was working for the previous owner, and it was known at the same location as the Capitol Care Clinic, it was ordered closed by the Ohio Department of Health for severe violations of state code, and also by the federal DEA for drug violations. It reopened just 1 year later by new owner David Berkins, simply by changing its name. It had the same phone number, the same website, and was given a license by the Ohio Department of Health in spite of not having answered any of the previous violations. The deficiencies continued, and the license was never revoked. Currently, the Ohio Department of Health lists the clinic status as active, yet the license expired in March of 2019. In 2017, David Berkins lost his medical license for 6 months only, after being cited by the Ohio Medical Board for basically running a pill mill from the clinic. He also received a 3-year probation, but continued to operate the clinic. David Berkins was not the only name discovered on the patient items recovered from the trash. Other names included that of Rebecca Lowenthal, who was reported to be the abortionist that performed an alleged late-term abortion on 22-year-old Lakeisha Wilson at preterm abortion clinic in Cleveland, after which she tragically died. The discovery of these things at the Northeast Ohio Women's Center Abortion Clinic reaches far beyond this location. David Berkins also runs the Northeast Ohio Women's Center in Shaker Heights. He's associated with the Toledo Women's Capital Care Abortion Clinic. He's been the medical director at Preterm Abortion Clinic in Cleveland. He's worked at Planned Parenthood in Bedford and was associated with Founders Abortion Clinic in Columbus before their closure. What is happening in Cuyahoga Falls, in clear violation of Ohio law, should be investigated at any facility where he has an association. These items were found over a period of weeks, and there's no way of knowing how long it's been going on, but we do know that it's not a one-time occurrence. If you haven't already received one, when you leave here today, and those of you that are streaming this online and require a press packet, we can send that to you. But in the packet will be a copy of Senate Bill 27, along with an analysis by the Legislative Service Commission, a copy of my Senate testimony on that legislation, a summary of Ohio's laws concerning infectious waste disposal, a summary of the HIPAA rules and regulations, a printout from the Ohio Department of Health website showing the expired license for the Northeast Ohio Women's Center Abortion Clinic, a printout of public records and documents related to the operation of the Northeast Ohio Women's Center Abortion Clinic, a printout of public records and documents related to David Berkins, and a CD containing the pictures that you see here, plus a few more. Now, if you have any questions, I'll answer them toward the end of this conference after we have heard from our other presenters. I would like to now introduce you to Monica Migliorini Miller, the founder and director of Citizens for a Pro-Life Society, who will address the evidence and the timeline in greater detail. Monica?
I want to thank everyone for being here today and all those who are viewing this on our Facebook Live. So I'm Monica Migliorino Miller, Director of Citizens for a Pro-Life Society, and I think I can safely say that of every person in this room, I have spent the most time with this abortion victim. I am the one who did all of the photography of this baby. And I didn't even have to use an expensive micro lens because the body parts were so obvious and large. So I had estimated that the baby, based on the foot size, almost 3/4 of an inch, and maybe actually about 3/4 of an inch in size, that this baby is between 16 and 18 weeks gestation. And as Denise has already indicated, it was a dilation, evacuation, abortion. Baby is literally ripped apart. So you can see here the body parts, the foot that actually goes to the leg here. And the leg is bent at the knee. And this is actually based on my being able to, well, I'll get to that in a second, but this is intestine. This is the baby's intestines. Okay. And these body parts are probably much of it is the torso and the chest, possibly some skull material as well. The person who found the aborted baby is a member of Citizens for a Pro-Life Society. And the searches of the trash dumpster occurred between June 7th and June 29th. And there were numerous searches. The searches revealed, as you see in this photo, the disclosure of first and last names of the patients of this abortion clinic and the biohazard waste. And this is just a sample of what was found. Okay. And we have over 30 names of women who were patrons of this abortion facility, whose names were clearly identifiable in the trash containers of the Northeast Ohio Women's Center in Cuyahoga Falls. The violations here are on a number of levels. And obviously the first level is the injustice of abortion itself.
Yeah.
I submit that no human being would do this to a dog on the worst day of their lives. And if they did, it would be illegal. And then to throw away this human being in the trash. And you know, there's no way in the history of this abortion clinic that this is the first time that an aborted baby was thrown away in their trash container. So these are the dark secrets that the residents who live close by, the school children who cross the street, the Sunoco station next door never knows that there are dead people in the trash containers of this abortion facility. This unborn baby will be given a humane burial in the weeks to come, and it will be the only act of charity this baby will ever know. A burial, which, by the way, I find rather ironic from a Christian point of view. Christianity, we have 7 corporal works of mercy. The last work of mercy is to bury the dead. But it'll be the first work of mercy that this baby will ever know. And this baby is just a fraction of the 62 million who have perished under the unjust law of Roe v. Wade since 1973 that will actually manage to find his or her way into a cemetery. That's the enormity of this injustice. Here's the bottom line. With the negative history that has followed this abortion clinic in Cuyahoga Falls, this abortion clinic needs to be shut down. It needs to be shut down by an order of the Attorney General of the state of Ohio, and it needs to happen now.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's what we want. That would be the vindication for this baby, that place of death and the horrific practice of abortion and the way that they practice abortion, that this clinic is closed. And the sister clinic, may I add, in Shaker Heights. The other thing that we need to highlight is the disrespect has been shown to these women who have come to this clinic. That their names are thrown away in look, anybody could have looked in that trash container. A homeless person could have come by and opened it up to see if there was something valuable. Maybe somebody threw away a, gift card to McDonald's. So who knows, right? Looking in the trash. The patients' names were not protected, and they were supposed to be protected by law, and they were not. Then the biohazard waste, all that dangerous, bloody material, all the remnants of the practice of abortion also found in those trash containers of this abortion center. The last thing I'm going to say is here, maybe for the first time, some of you have actually seen the photo of a baby killed by abortion. But here, we are looking at something that the human eye is not meant to see.
Yeah.
And your mind is now scarred by the image of what happened to this baby. And you will carry that image with you. You will be marked by the death of this baby. So let justice be done. Thank you so much.
We don't want the discovery of these things or this press conference to be in vain. I would like to now introduce you to Allie Frazier, who is the Communications Director at Ohio Right to Life, who will address the actions that we are taking and the things that we are calling for in response. Allie?
Thanks, Monica and Denise. I really appreciate it. As Denise said, my name is Allie Frazier, and I am the Director of Communications at Ohio Right to Life. Before we describe the actions that Ohio Right to Life will be undertaking, and I will be brief, I would like to just read a few comments that were made by the abortion industry regarding SB 27, the Fetal Remains Bill, as Denise has previously mentioned, also known as the Unborn Child Dignity Act. Denise has already covered the bulk of the pertinent information on this legislation, but I do feel that it is important to read these. In response to Senate Bill 27, the ACLU of Ohio referred to the legislation as, and I quote, nothing more than legislative harassment, and claimed that it, quote, serves no legitimate medical purposes. Likewise, NARAL Pro-Choice Ohio called the Unborn Child Dignity Act a completely unnecessary, burdensome regulation and a sham based on inaccurate information. NARAL also went a step further on Twitter and proudly proclaimed that then Attorney General Mike DeWine's investigation of Planned Parenthood found no wrongdoing, and claimed in opponent testimony that SB 27 was a, quote, witch hunt against abortion providers based on false information. For years, we have been told time and time again that this never happens, that babies' bodies aren't thrown in the trash, or that even if they do, that doing so is a normal, upstanding practice. Our efforts to require the most basic form of human decency from the abortion industry have been labeled as ridiculous and divorced from reality. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think any sane individual can look at the evidence we presented today and agree with any of those comments. This is happening in Ohio, and it is an egregious violation of the law and of basic human decency. Furthermore, in light of these findings, it is crystal clear that the abortion industry's blatant disregard for human life does not end with unborn children. In addition to this child's broken body, items containing the medical information of over 300 individuals, exposed and easily readable, had clearly been redacted for confidentiality purposes, were found scattered in the trash behind Northeast Ohio Women's Center. This, in our opinion, is a clear violation of HIPAA requirements, as Denise has mentioned previously, and it is an egregious breach of medical ethics. Northeast Ohio Women's Center hasn't just thrown a child's body in the trash. They have put women's confidential and deeply personal medical information at risk as well. Going forward, Ohio Right to Life will do everything in our power to hold this abortion facility accountable for their actions. We are filing formal complaints with the following entities: State Medical Board, the Ohio Department of Health, the Joint Commission, the Ohio EPA, the Summit County Health Department, and Health and Human Services, which is HHS. Additionally, we plan on working with Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost to ensure that justice is served and that this abortion facility complies fully with state law. Abortion facilities are not exempt from following Ohio law, and we will see to it that they are not allowed to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ally. There are many dedicated legislators in Ohio who have been working to ensure the health and safety of Ohio residents. The current legislative session is on summer break after a long and arduous budget session. But we've kept several of them informed of this situation, especially those who sponsored or co-sponsored legislation to protect life. I'd like to read a statement right now from State Senator Christina Rogner, who could not be with us today because she's out of town on vacation. And I quote, "The thought of what happened sickens me. I want to thank Right to Life of Northeast Ohio and Ohio Right to Life for shining a light on this atrocity. Unborn life is precious, innocent, and sacred. Therefore, we must continue without ceasing to fight for the right to life and to protect the health and safety of Ohio residents and the environment." End quote. You know, it doesn't matter if you support the right to life or if you think abortion is acceptable. That's really not what this conference is about today. This conference is about the law and following the rules and regulations that are in place to protect us all. If you go online today and you examine the Ohio Department of Health database, you will find that hundreds of ambulatory surgical facilities in Ohio, it's only those facilities that perform abortions that have expired licenses. You'll discover that any other facility that does not do abortions would have been closed long ago for the multitudes of deficiencies and violations that occur at abortion facilities. This is not a political issue or trying to place an undue burden on pregnant women seeking an abortion. It is a health and safety issue and requiring that all ambulatory surgical facilities be held to the same high standards, regardless of the procedures they perform. 2 human beings always enter an abortion clinic. One of them always dies. The mother should have a reasonable expectation of living, of being respected, not having her privacy violated, not having her child thrown in the trash, not having any medical waste, blood, or urine violate environmental rules, and not having to see this in the news and further the trauma of post-abortion stress. Until we are one day able to end the tragedy of killing our preborn children, we need abortion clinics, especially the Northeast Ohio's Women's Center, to obey the law. Thank you. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you're viewing this online, you can just post them online and I will be glad to answer them as well. Anybody in the room, questions? I thank you for joining us today. If you haven't received the press packet, they're in the back and we'll be here for a while longer if you have any questions you want to bring to us personally. Thank you.
All right, friends. Well, there we go. There's the press conference here in northeastern Ohio. Baby retrieved from an abortion center here just recently after the Red Rose rescue took place in June. Boy, I have a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, you know, we wouldn't be here today if it were that baby was not retrieved from an abortion clinic, from a dumpster. 2,600 abortions occur every day. 2,600 unborn babies are killed every single day without any fanfare, without news conferences, without being found in dumpsters. That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy, is that this goes on day in, day out with very little said or done about it. It's only when we find them in a dumpster that we are outraged. And we should be. That the babies are being thrown in dumpsters for sure, but it's bigger than that. It's about abortion altogether. We're not here to regulate abortion clinics. We're here to shut them down. We're here to end abortion altogether. And I'm glad that by the providence of God, that this child's death has not gone in vain. In other words, this child's death will actually count for something. Where the 2,600 babies that died today can't say that. In fact, their lives will go unnoticed. Their deaths will go unnoticed. This one happens to be noticed because she or he was thrown into an abortion center, and that's why we're gathered here today to expose the evil of abortion. You saw the photos. Abortion is an act of violence. It kills a baby, and that should be what we're talking about today. Not that the clinic violated some regulatory laws of Ohio, although they did do that, and we should hold them accountable to that. This abortion mill needs shut down because it kills babies, not necessarily just because of the way they disposed of them. But I'll take it. If we could shut it down because of the way they disposed of them by throwing them in a dumpster, let's shut them down using that law. But the time has passed that we trim around the edges and regulate abortion. This is an outrage. This is a genocide taking place in our country. You saw the photos. This poor child has died at the hands of an abortionist and thrown into a dumpster, treated like common garbage. That's the culture we live in. That's got to stop. And that's why I'm here today, to draw attention to it. So I thank you for tuning in. I have to thank Ohio Right to Life and Northeast Ohio Right to Life for the work they've done and doing their due diligence and putting all this together and presenting the evidence to the Ohio Attorney General and whoever else needs to know to shut this abortion center down. And for the work of Monica Miller, who even to this day, her people are willing to go into the dark places of the world to retrieve unborn babies so that they might deserve or might be able to have a humane burial. And this baby, unlike all the others that are dying today by abortion, will be fortunate enough to be able to be buried with a humane service and funeral. And so we'll give you more updates on when that's going to be happening here soon. But just to let you know, I'm here in Northeast Ohio at the press conference about an aborted baby that was discovered in the abortion center here in the Akron area. And we're here to draw attention to that in hopes that we can shut down this abortion center for the killing that it takes place inside. So Mark Harrington here, coming to you from Northeast Ohio. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have a lot more to bring to you soon regarding this breaking story from this area of the country. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.